From humble beginnings in Slovenia to becoming the First Lady of the US, Melania Trump's journey is nothing short of extraordinary. She had a dream and didn't just chase it, she outran it.
Melania Trump is...
Oh, that's so many stuff.
But her life wasn't always glamorous. Melania worked tirelessly and faced countless obstacles, including a decade-long journey to becoming a US citizen. So, how did a Slovenian model named Melania Trump rise to become a global icon and, eventually, the First Lady? Let's dive into her fascinating story.
Only I have my story. I know the truth.
First, we should rewind to January 1987 in Ljubljana, Slovenia, back when it was still part of Yugoslavia.
I grew up in Slovenia and I went to school there. I studied design and architecture. And then I moved to Milan and Paris to live there.
In her home country, Melania was known for her striking looks and reserved personality. Friends remember her as serious but with a sharp wit.
What was Melania like as a roommate?
The perfect roommate. Clean, neat, domestic, you know?
Her family was close-knit, with her dad Victor working as a mechanic and her mom Amalia in fashion. They instilled in her a strong work ethic and a love for education.
My elegant and hard-working mother, Amalia, introduced me to fashion and beauty. My father, Victor, installed in me a passion for business and travel.
Melania often dreamed of the amazing place called America. Sounds like a classic American dream in the making. And soon, fortune smiled on her. Melania, just 16, was spotted by photographer Stane Jurko while leaning on a fence. Jurko saw potential in this tall, slim girl with long hair and decided to take her photo. Despite her initial shyness and reserve, Jurko saw something special in her. The photos turned out great, and her modeling career took off from there.
And I traveled around the world modeling and had a great career.
Fast forward to 1992, and Melania lands in Milan, still using her original name, Melania Trump. She was a bit of a risk taker, even doing a shoot where she played a fictional female US president. Little did she know, life would mirror that shoot decades later.
I'm proud of it. Yes, I am.
By the mid-90s, Melania is in New York with just a small apartment and big dreams. The fashion scene was wild. Think supermodels and over-the-top glamour.
I arrived in New York City 20 years ago, and I saw both the joys and hardships of daily life.
She had some risque photo shoots and even became the face of Camel Lights. Despite being a bit older than most new models, she made a mark with her seriousness and focus. But here's where things get a little murky. In 2016, the Associated Press dropped a bombshell. They claimed Melania Trump may have broken immigration law when she first came to the US in 1996.
And I came to United States, to New York, in 1996.
According to their investigation, she entered on a tourist visa but started working as a model before getting a proper work visa. Now, immigration rules can be tricky. What's legal and what's not isn't always crystal clear.
I came here on visa. I flew to Slovenia every few months to stamp it.
Melania's own words kind of back up the idea that she came to the US on a tourist visa. She mentioned flying to Slovenia every few months to stamp it, which suggests she had a visa that needed regular updates. The thing is, a tourist visa like that doesn't actually let you work in the US. So this raises some questions about how she was able to work as a model during that time.
Because I believe that we need to be very vigilant who is coming to the country.
So here's what the AP found. Melania arrived in August 1996 on a B1/B2 tourist visa, which let her stay in the US for 6 months but didn't allow her to work. Then on October 18th, she officially got an H-1B visa, which made her employment legal. Sounds fine, right? Well, not quite, because according to the records, she had already been paid for 10 modeling jobs between September 10th and October 15th. In other words, she was working while still on a tourist visa, which technically was a violation. Fun fact, Donald Trump has been a vocal critic of the H-1B visa, calling it a tool to undercut American workers. In 2016, he even vowed to end forever the use of the H-1B as a cheap labor program. Given that Melania herself once held one, you have to wonder, was that an awkward conversation at home?
Well, do I agree all the time with him? No, I don't. And I tell him that.
Before jumping to conclusions, let's think about this. Melania might not have known she was breaking the rules. The 90s fashion scene in New York was full of models working in a gray area, with agencies not exactly spelling out the legal stuff. It was common for models to come on tourist visas without realizing they weren't allowed to work. Or she might not have been paid at all, just posing for exposure to build her career.
We were making this kind of magazine to have exposure, and this exposure was bringing you to the next level to have catalog, campaign, and everything.
But there's also the other side of the coin. What if she did know and did get paid? That could mean visa fraud. However, Melania and the Trump team have firmly denied any wrongdoing, claiming she followed all the legal steps. In 2016, she tweeted a letter from her attorney saying he checked her records and confirmed she entered the US legally in 1996 and followed visa rules. With 100% certainty, I correctly went through the legal process, she wrote.
I follow the law. I follow a law the way it's supposed to be. I never thought to stay here without papers.
Still, doubts lingered, as no full documentation was ever released. But controversy or not, her career in the 90s was moving full speed ahead. Then came her big break in 1998, when Paolo Zampoli introduced her to Donald Trump.
We met in New York. It was a fashion week and it was a party, big party, so we met there.
Now Trump, with his flashy reputation, didn't exactly sweep Melania off her feet right away. In fact, she famously didn't give him her number immediately.
So he asked me for the number and I said, I will not give you my number. So if you give me your numbers, I will call you.
Classic move, Melania. And it turns out Trump fell for this trick not once, but twice. His first wife, Ivana, also didn't give him her number right away. Looks like Trump has a thing for a little mystery.
I don't know what is Melania's problem. She just has to get over it. She's First Lady of America, but I'm First Lady Trump. Excuse me.
Their relationship started off a bit unconventional. I mean, Trump was even talking about universal health care, which is definitely not what you'd expect from him. But as Melania got to know him, she realized he was serious about running for president one day.
I have been with Donald for 18 years, and I have been aware of his love for this country since we first met.
Meanwhile, in 2000, Melania set her sights on something big. She applied for the EB-1 visa, aka Einstein visa.
She received a so-called Einstein visa, possibly, because when she told her friends she was dating Donald Trump, they said, "Way to go, Einstein."
To qualify, applicants have to show proof of major achievements or meet 3 out of 10 specific criteria that demonstrate excellence in their field. This could include media coverage, groundbreaking contributions, or having work showcased in major exhibitions. The EB-1 is typically awarded to high achievers like Pulitzer, Oscar, or Olympic winners, respected researchers, and top executives. And guess what? By 2001, she was one of just 5 Slovenians to score this prestigious visa that year. Wow, she must have been an absolutely outstanding model to earn such recognition.
I obeyed the law. I did it the right way. I didn't just sneak in and stay here.
At the time, Melania was still modeling in New York and dating Trump. Definitely a big step up. But even bigger things were on the horizon, becoming Mrs. Trump. They eventually tied the knot in a lavish 2005 ceremony, surrounded by flowers and celebrities, but almost none of Melania's old friends were there. Guess those high-profile guest lists come with a few trade-offs.
Did you feel different when they said man and wife?
No. I felt that it was just so natural.
In 2006, just a year after their wedding, Melania gave birth to their son, Baron.
I like my suitcase. I have to go to school now.
Yeah.
That same year, she became a U.S. citizen through the Einstein visa she'd secured earlier.
I was very proud to become citizens of the United States.
Now, as a U.S. citizen, she had the right to sponsor her parents, Victor and Amalia Knovs, who were sworn in as U.S. citizens in 2018. Pretty full circle, right?
But do you think people should be able to bring in their mother and their father?
Yes, of course.
By 2014, Donald Trump was so obsessed with politics that even his advisors were wondering what he was thinking. One time, on a flight to Buffalo, Trump's father-in-law, Victor, asked campaign advisor Sam Nunberg if Trump knew what being president actually meant. Nunberg quipped, "There were only two people who seriously thought Donald Trump would win the presidency, him and Melania."
Were you involved in the decision of your husband to become president?
We discuss a lot, yes, and I encourage him.
Now it seems like Melania's life was a series of lucky breaks. But once she moved into the White House after Trump's inauguration, the media scrutinized her like never before.
I think people will always judge. Maybe they will say, oh, the past that you have, the way you were modeling, that's part of the job that I was doing. I was a very successful model.
Opinions on Melania are as divided as ever. Liberals see her as a figure of pity, with her tenure marked by a notable absence. Remember that cringeworthy video where she dodged Trump's hand-holding attempts? Yikes. And that awkward smile at the cameras? No wonder people think she's not exactly thrilled with her husband.
You're not the first lady to have to deal with her husband's alleged infidelities. Has this put a strain on your marriage?
It is not concern and focus of mine.
The hashtag #I'mFreeMelania captures the sentiment of those who see her as a prisoner of her own making. And don't even get started on the conspiracy theories about her having a body double, or the criticisms of her pricey wardrobe, like that jaw-dropping $51,000 Dolce & Gabbana jacket. But Trump's diehard fans see her as the epitome of charm and elegance. Former Trump advisor Seb Gorka gushes, "Melania truly is the embodiment of grace." Her old school friends are not buying the bimbo label. Petra Sadej, one of her childhood pals, says, "I think she's happy. She's smart enough to handle it all."
I'm my own person, he's his own person, and I think that's very important. I don't want to change him, he doesn't want to change me.
Melania's biography, The Art of Her Deal, suggests she's been playing the long game. The author, Mary Jordan, claims Melania used various scandals, including the infamous grab 'em by the pussy tape, to renegotiate her prenup. Classic Melania move, delay moving to Washington for a better deal.
You know, I made a lot of money myself, so it's like I know how it's to work and what money means.
Former friend and aide Stephanie Winston Wolkoff shared that people often see Melania as a counterbalance to Donald Trump, giving the impression she's a hostage hoping to be freed. But maybe that's not the case. As Wolkoff wrote for the Daily Beast, the truth is Melania knows and supports Donald and his viewpoints.
Do you love your husband?
Yes, we are fine, yes. It's what media speculate and it's gossip, it's not always correct stuff.
So, after 24 years of incredible highs and lows, from her arrival in New York as a model to becoming the First Lady, Melania's story is nothing short of extraordinary. It's like the ultimate American dream, with a few nightmare twists along the way. And while it may seem surreal, one thing is undeniable. Melania Trump's rise from Sevnica to Washington, D.C. is one of the wildest American success stories ever.